It's instant. Actually, as I speak today, my minister is launching our digital land portals to move away actually from now having citizens coming to the land, our land offices, the 22 points, to now being able to carry out instant searches and getting results on your phone in the comfort of your homes. And that has been because of the struggles we have been through since 2010 to try to reconstruct, to capture correctly the quality control, update, data maintenance, so many things that we have been doing. So we are now seeing the results, and everybody has been asking, where have you been, where have you been? Saying, no, we've been doing this at the back. These are the back end processes that you need to do to prepare, because without them, actually, you cannot deliver a better service. So what we learned from this, it has actually reduced on our interfacing with our staff. There was a lot of bribery, a lot of corruption, payment of unofficial fees, but the digitalization now has actually removed all of these. Another measure that we did was to use the social media platforms for notifications, lost, stolen, and misplaced titles. This is an intervention that basically has benefited the persons in the diaspora. You know, if a title is stolen, there's a procedure to get a replacement, a special title. So people wait for those in the diaspora, and they actually use that opportunity to report their titles lost and get new titles. So technology, IT, has helped us. We prefer that we get their telephone number so that you can receive a notification in case there is a transaction on your title. Then, of course, the issue of training and capacity building. We have had to do this, not for all, but mostly the customer care staff, because they are the ones who interact with the citizens. And if they do not have the proper training and tools to respond to issues, then you have a challenge. So capacity building has helped, and this one has helped us to decentralize, to delegate also, and make sure that at least we ease the information provision through having more decentralized points where people can go other than come to the centralized facility. We have also built our own data center, the National Land Information Center. It has been very expensive, but again, with support from the World Bank. So we keep our own data, and it has actually helped us. We have a lot of security protocols, so you cannot just get to this data. And it is kept in Uganda. We have several locations which are not disclosed where we also keep this. And from this one, our point that we learn is that if you have it in the country, actually, you build a body of experts amongst the country to be able to serve. And those that are serving us are actually all young men and women who have helped us to build this system.
Thank you, Dennis.
Oh, okay. I had more, but
okay, maybe 1 minute.
Yes, in 1 minute. You know, it hasn't been so easy. It hasn't been easy, and there have been challenges. Digitalization comes with issues of backlog, and if you don't resolve backlog, you get into trouble. Your information is not reliable. You need to link with other systems, the identity cards, the courts of law, all these. It has taken time to interlink our systems. So we are still doing it, but we are not yet there. Then missing records. During the war, our buildings were bombed and we lost such of the records. Reconstructing a record takes between 3 to 4 months. And if you have not done this really, you cannot give credible data. And probably lastly is that for the marginalized groups, what we have found is that especially for those that are blind, Braille is a very big challenge to us. the technical staff don't know how to use it, they can't read it. And because of this, actually, we have many people in the PWDs where the blind people have lost their land because of lack of access to information that suits their need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So from the public officials, we have seen a number of initiatives that they have undertaken, ranging from manuals to appointing information officers to training and awareness raising, to building systems that help to quick retrieval and disclosure of information and proactive disclosure, among others. Let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis Mwafulirwa. How are you building the demand based on the Malawi Access to Information Act, and what are some of the results? Some of the issues, of course, Dr. Chikaiko has said that you're going to share your personal experience.
Thank you so much, Gilbert, and thank you to UNESCO and the government of Ghana for bringing us here. I work with an organization called Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation. In short, we call it CHRR. It's a local human rights and governance organization based in Malawi and operating in Malawi. And as a human rights organization, we are working in a number of human rights issues as well as governance. And the area of access to information cross-cuts across our programs. We work in the area of human rights itself more broadly. We work in the area of access to justice, land and natural resources, but also sexual and reproductive justice. And when you think about access to information, it cuts across all these areas. So as an organization, we've been working on both supply side and demand side. Supply side, we've been working around advocacy to demand from government to proactively disclose information, but also to respond to requests whenever there is a request for access to information, but also in terms of policy and law reform around access to information and data, an area that the government is duty-bound to do. So we've been doing advocacy around that, but also providing feedback in terms of how public institutions have been complying on these areas, and that has been helpful. First of all, we have an access to information law that has come largely as a result of ongoing advocacy from ourselves and other institutions that are there. On the demand side, we've been doing a lot of awareness raising on the access to information law, but also in other areas of human rights, so that people are aware about what is entitled to them, but also how they can use the access to information law in terms of public service delivery, but also in terms of holding duty bearers accountable on the decisions they make, the actions they take. We've also been working on capacity building and training of citizens around use of access to information law and how they can use it in terms of exercising their other rights, but also holding duty bearers accountable. We've also advocated around digitalization, which is an enabler when we think about access to information, an area that is important in the age that we are in, seeing the significance of using digital platforms to reach out to different masses. So one of the areas that I mentioned in terms of what we do is empowering citizens with knowledge about access to information law, but also not just that, to be able to use the law to exercise their rights. And I am one of the beneficiaries of those trainings that Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation did. So in 2020, I attended a training that CHR did. That was before I joined the organization as an officer. From that training, it was a training on open contracting in public procurement. So from that training, I was able to use that to participate in the open contracting process. I engaged the Central Medical Stores to request information because I was so curious. Dr. Chikaiko was talking about how Central Medical Stores was coming from a background where there were so many scandals in terms of how they were using resources. So I made requests to get information from them. It took me a year before I got the actual verdict on the issue. I remember at one point I was told that they were consulting lawyers, and you know when you hear an institution is consulting lawyers, it's a scare off for the general public. But if you know what you are doing, you have information, you know what needs to happen, you are empowered as a citizen, that gives you the ability to be able to respond in an informed manner. So that training that I got from CHR allowed me to engage with Central Medical Stores from an informed perspective. And it resulted in a situation where we reached a point where I thought they could not do anything, and I had to take the next step to go to the Malawi Human Rights Commission to complain, to say this organization needs to give the information according to the law, but they are not doing so. So you have the mandate as a regulator to do something. And they were able to respond to that, resulting in a situation which Dr. Chikaiko was saying that they now are reformed in different areas of our situation. And that tells you two things. One, if you have an empowered citizen, you'll be able to see the demand side of information. And on the other side, you would see responsiveness from the public institutions. And I'm happy that Malawi Human Rights Commission is here, and Central Medical Stores is here as well, giving that testimony of what can be done when access to information is pursued. The other area that I wanted to give as an example, we are working in development projects. There is a World Bank project that is happening in Malawi, and we used the same awareness, education, and training of communities, citizens to demand information. And the World Bank project, which is a huge hydro project, they are acquiring land from the citizens. And what we've witnessed from other similar projects, people would be would lose their land, and at the end of the day, they would end up in a really destitute situation because they were not given enough information about how the land acquirement process should look like. They will not be given enough information about the compensation that they need to get, about their entitlements. And with this World Bank project, we've seen a change in terms of how the company that is processing that has done in terms of providing information, but also what they are doing with the communities in terms of engaging them around their compensation, engaging them around what would happen with the project and how they would continue to participate in the project. And that is because the citizens have been empowered. In other projects that citizens were not empowered, we saw problematic situations where citizens ended up suffering as a result of not having information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mofurirwa. I think I should add that based on your case study that you have shared, you also need a strong and effective regulator. In this case, the Malawi Human Rights Commission, which was able to hear your case and make a determination against the Central Medical Stores. So you need those three elements to work together to realize an effective right to information. So thank you very much, panel. Let me take it to the audience. If you have a question or comment to this panel, the intention is that this inspires us to learn, so that if you're a public official or someone responsible, you are able to do some of the things, whether we have learned, coming up with manuals, training, staff, awareness raising, services. Questions or comment? Yes, sir. Let me pick maybe 4. We have interventions, responses from the panel, and then we see what happens next.
Thank you very much.
So we have you, we have Commissioner. Any other hands? Okay, just to, thank you very much.
I'm Kingsley Ohenabamo, a Pan-African civil society leader. Mine is in the form of a question and also a suggestion. How can information be acquired across board in Africa, across the continent? I'm asking, what are the strategies in place currently for we to harmonize information across the continent, with civil society demanded online, perhaps, or through a government agency, that we can secure from Ghana, requesting an information from perhaps Kenya, that I can secure? What are some of the modalities or current strategies ongoing? Or if there are no, what are some of the things we can do to get it done in the next 5 to 10 years? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then Commissioner Ibrahim.
Thank you very much. For me, it's the Ugandan situation. I think there was somebody coming from the Ministry of Lands, talking about access to information. I was just wondering, because I know in Uganda, the African Freedom of Information Network has been doing fantastic work from the civil society perspective. But in Uganda, I don't know, it's not very clear to me whether you have the law and then you have an oversight body. Because, since we've been working together with other colleagues in Africa, we've not heard about a law in Uganda and then, of course, an oversight body. So I just wanted to hear from probably both of you, from Mr. Sindegwa and then the person from Uganda, about whether in the first place we have a law and how old is that law, and whether we have an oversight body that was set up following the adoption of the law. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So on the oversight, Uganda was among the first countries to adopt access to information legislation. And I think one of the things that are missing is the oversight. What is provided for under the law is that when a citizen like Mwafurirwa here is aggrieved, that they should go to court. And courts are not affordable to many citizens, they are not accessible, and they are not effective. In 2011, 2 journalists from the Monitor newspaper were not satisfied with the decision of the Chief Magistrate's Court, and they appealed this matter to the High Court. In 2011, it has not been scheduled for hearing. A High Court judge of that court in 2011 moved through the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court and retired this year, and this case is yet to be scheduled for hearing. The positive news is that on Idowai, last week, when it was celebrated in Uganda, the minister agreed with the recommendation from the African Commission on Human and People's Rights to amend this law. So I think it's going to be forward soon with the amendment that the government has promised. Your question, I think, had two parts, right? Oh, that was... Okay. Then who would like to respond to... it was a general question on what can be done to realize the right to information for everyone, not just a citizen in a particular country. Knowing that some of the countries' access to information laws restrict this right to citizens, whereas the African Charter on Human and People's Rights says everyone. But then our legislators in a number of countries restrict this to national citizens. Anyone would like to respond to this? Do you give information to, like, maybe you, Dennis, you talked about land, and I know investors and the rest, you know, their projects are based on land, and they might need information even when they are not citizens of that country. But, and also I think you, Dr. Chikaiko, maybe your suppliers and contractors and the rest are non-citizens. So do others have rights, and what could be done for people in other countries to access information which might be important for their decision making?
Thank you. I'll give it a first shot. Now, I told you I come from the land sector. And if you just look at the East African community, land is not a community issue. So that alone actually is a frustration. Of course, you know, in Uganda, land belongs to the citizens. In Kenya, land belongs, I think, to the state. In Tanzania, so co-title and those issues are not yet sorted out. And because of that, we cannot bring our systems from national level to regional level, then later to the African level. I think this is something that still requires political intervention to prepare the way, and then we, the technical, can come in and merge the systems. But it doesn't stop us from beginning to build these systems. Once they are done, then the political integration will help us bring them together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone would like to speak to that?
I will just add on to what my colleague has said. I think through regional blocks as well, we can have discussions on how we can share certain information in the way we actually work together. Like in the East African community, as he has said, we have some frameworks on information sharing, but on specific areas that are of common interest to the rest of the East African community. So I think through African Union, maybe other blocks, there could be discussions that can help reaching to a point maybe that will be possible.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the key thing is that, to the best of my knowledge, the African Union has given guidance, because all the 6 treaties say that this is a right for everyone. But then at the national level, the access to information laws, a number of them restrict this right on citizens. So maybe what could be done to bring this harmonization to make this right for everyone rather than, you know, individual citizens. But I think that's the kind of engagement that, you know, the AU and all of us need to engage to create that harmonization. On this very issue, maybe speaking to you, Innocent, you know that there is a case which could not proceed in the East African Court of Justice between Uganda and Rwanda by the East African Law Society, because, you know, one of the state parties could not release information which the Law Societies needed to take this matter to court. So while, you know, like you say, there seems to have been harmonization at that level, but then as citizens applying these mechanisms to get information to pursue whatever issues they want to pursue, there have been a challenge, as in that case of the East Africa Law Society. Let me take more hands. Yes, we have Dr. Numan, we have, yes, Malawi Human Rights Commission. A lady there. Is your hand up? Or you were stretching? Okay. Any other? Any comments from ladies? Access to information. Okay. In addition to Dr. Numan, sorry. Access to information is for everyone. Okay, let's get those interventions. Laura, please. Okay, we can start with you.
All right. Thank you so much. My question is to our neighboring country, Tanzania. I'm curious to learn that there are some developments as far as access to information is concerned. I would like to know maybe when does Tanzania expect to start implementing the law? Since you mentioned that there's a commission set up, I don't know if there's a secretariat overseeing this law in Tanzania, and when do you intend to become part of the network, of the African Network for Information Commissioners? Because really we're curious to see Tanzania on board as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that is the access to information law, but maybe Dr. Numan will ask, then you respond. But maybe as you do that, there is this issue of inclusiveness, and language is one of the key issues. If I remember very well in your intervention, you said that you don't allow certain languages, but reflect on those, and then as we get interventions from the floor. Laura?
Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. Gilbert, congratulations to all of you for the progress that you've been making here on the continent, and certainly being champions. It's great to see you all. I will note, however, that it is a panel full of men, and in 2024, I think we're ready for you to also engage women, or as you call them, Gilbert, ladies, on your panel. I hope that there are many, many champions, women champions in all of your countries advancing the right to information. My question is, what are you doing to ensure that